So the first hard drug that I ever did was shrooms. Craziest experience of my life. So I was over at my friend's house, and basically the chick that lived there at the house with my best friend, she told me, she's like, you either gonna do it with us or you're leaving. She was not nice about it. And so I was like, okay, like I'll go ahead and do it because I don't want to go home and be by myself. Like, how lame is that? And so we did shrooms, and we were there in the living room tripping all night long. It's just crazy. And the next day I had to go to work. So I was running on very little sleep, and I was still my body was still trying to work through the psychedelics. So every couple hours I could feel my body feel woozy and like go into that mindset of like having a trip, I guess you can say. My brain felt like mush the next day. I felt like an airhead. Like I felt dumb. Like I felt like my brain was just like crapping out. It was the weirdest thing. And that was it. That was the first and last time of me doing shrooms, because it was so crazy the way that your mind tricks you. And I was paranoid, and so I was on my phone a lot of the time trying to talk to people, trying to grasp this, like, a sense of reality, because like when you're tripping, your mind just goes elsewhere and like thinks whatever and can trick you and all of this stuff. And so I was texting people trying to have some bit of comfort. I have no idea. It was the craziest thing. And then from there, it went from smoking weed, which is, I don't really consider that a hard drug, but I feel like it's an issue when you become dependent on it like I did. So for me, it was start out every once in a while, not that big of a deal, have fun, go to parties, whatever, at a friend's house. Okay, fine, whatever. And then it got to the point where I needed it like every day. I would wake up, do it, come home from work, do it, before bed, do it. And I was spending so much money on it. Like I just constantly needed to be numbed out. I was so numbed out. And then enters in, one time we went to this bar. The guy that I was with at the time, we went to a bar and he found acid on the ground, and he picked it up. He freaking picked it up off the ground, and he was like, oh my gosh, I think this is acid. I'm gonna try it. And so he actually took a couple tabs of it when we were at the bar just to make sure that it was fine. And then we got home and he's like, yeah, I think this is fine. You want to try it? And I was like, sure, why not? And so that was the first time that I tried acid. That was crazy. And then the first time that I ever did cocaine was in a random bathroom. So we met these dudes at the bar yet again, and they were like, hey, you want to come back to our place and do some blow with us? And I'm like, what is that? Total newbie, had no clue. And so the guy that I was with was like, hey, it's okay, it's just gonna make you feel a little more energized. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so we did it in the bathroom, and I didn't really even think of it. That was kind of the end of it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of dumb. Like, what's the point of that? I didn't really get the obsession with cocaine in the beginning. I wasn't really too sure about it. And then that became our drug of choice, was weed and cocaine and acid. And every weekend we would just party. We would have friends come over, and his friend was he actually sold it. He actually sold drugs. And so that actually made it a lot easier for the guy that I was with and for me to get drugs. Literally just having a friend, he would just have him come over, and he would bring his bag, his stash, and we would just do it in the basement every weekend. And soon enough, it started to spill into the weekdays, and it just got to the point where we were so dependent on it. We couldn't go a weekend without doing drugs. It got to the point to where the guy that I was with, we started to owe drug money to people. And we started to do some shady things in order to pay off that drug money that we owed. We even had our room. So he rented a room from a friend, and there was just a bunch of different rooms. So we had a room downstairs, and our door got broken. So we didn't have a lock to our downstairs room, and our room actually got broken into, and my driver's license, my social security card got stolen, and then my computer tablet got stolen. And this is crazy because we know who did it, because the weekend prior we were doing drugs together. Like, who it was who broke into our room, and I'm like, hey, is there any way that we can get my stuff back? And the group of friends that we had knew them, and they didn't even help me. And I was so infuriated. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know who it is. Like, why aren't you going to help me get it back? And then eventually, because I was so malnourished, I wasn't really eating properly, I was paranoid, I was anxious, I was scared all the time, my mind would play tricks on me, my emotions were so all over the place, I was so depressed. And when I say sad and depressed, it's like such a deep pit feeling. Like, it's so heavy. Like, it literally feels like a 20-pound weight is on your body. That's the only thing I can really describe the depression that I had when I was doing drugs. It was just so much weight on me and so heavy. And so obviously I was trying to escape by doing drugs, but it got to me so fast.